Well, boys, you caught me, okay? Bungie flew me out to try the brand new Edge of Fate DLC early, and there's a lot coming. Before I say anything, guys, this is technically a sponsored video, and I do have a couple more videos coming out showcasing a bunch of the new stuff, but this is paid, technically, okay? So I just gotta let you guys know that. Everything you're gonna see in this video is subject to change. Nothing you're gonna be seeing in this gameplay is final. They can change a lot of damage values, they can change a lot of, stats, whatever it may be. Nothing is final. Just remember that. And again, I also apologize for my voice. I am very sick, but I do want to talk about a couple things. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking specifically about the new stats and how I'm going to be making a new build moving forwards. There is a brand new stat in the game called weapons, and some other stuff too I'll get into, but the main thing I want to talk about for now is weapons. This legit just gives you extra damage to all of your weapons across the board in PvE, and most importantly, PvP. It also gives you a flat out 15% handling increase, which is awesome. I think it's 10%, 50%, something like that. It also gives you extra reload speed. It's great. Honestly, a really great stat to have in the game. But one thing I was worried about again is the extra damage because, it might be a little bit too strong. With that being said, there's also two other stats coming. We got the health stat and of course the class ability stat. The health stat just gives you more health on orb pickups and flinch resistance, but if you max it out over 100 and get to 200, or in between 100 to 200, just doesn't really matter, somewhere over 100, you will get faster regen. That's right, they completely removed recovery from the game and replaced it with this health stat. The only issue now is you have to actually increase the health stat above 100 to get any faster regen now. I did ask Bungie about what the base regen was set at compared to recovery before, and they were saying that all guardians are going to have 10 recovery normally, and then if you increase your health stat above 100, it would go even faster. That's what I was told. But after playtesting and just going into the gun range and taking damage to just test how the regen felt, recovery did not feel like it was at 10 at all. I'm not too sure, but right now in the build that you're going to be watching, the regen was not at 10 at all. It felt more like 3 recovery. The new class ability recovery might worry some people, but I don't think it's going to be too big of a problem. Let me explain. If you increase your class ability stat above 100, you get an overshield every time you cast your class ability. Now, this overshield will be stronger depending on how much of the stat you have. So if you have 200 class ability stats, that means your overshield will be around like 40 to 50 HP. I don't know the exact number, but it will be pretty damn strong. But again, you have to sacrifice an extra 100 stat points just to get the overshield. And the reason why I say it might not be a big deal is because since we're having the extra weapon stat now, it kind of counters the extra health from using your class ability. But I could be wrong. Again, I haven't really gotten the best testing ever. We're gonna have to wait and see until the full game comes out, and again, maybe values do change, but as of right now, you do get a pretty hefty overshield for using your class ability if you manage to reach 200 class stats. In terms of what build I went for when I was playtesting, I mainly tested out having 200 weapon stats, and that's because doing extra damage is always going to be insane no matter what. I also went with 100 discipline, obviously because I was on strand, and I didn't really test out the class ability too much because getting an overshield after using your class ability isn't necessarily new, but it is new having it all the time. So I went into a custom game and tested out a couple weapons just so you guys get an idea of how strong the weapon stat really is. On screen, I'll be showing you guys the Hawkmoon, the Igneous Hammer, and of course the Immortal. The Igneous Hammer started hitting 96 damage, or maybe it was 97, I don't remember exactly, on the first bullet, not accounting for any other damage perk, no radiant, nothing. It's just flat out 96 damage at all times. The Hawkmoon is also hitting for 86 damage with maxed out weapon stats. And the Immortal, I don't remember what it was hitting exactly, but I'll be showing you guys on screen here. You'll see it anyways. Now, having a 6% damage increase at all times, honestly, it's pretty insane. I did leave my feedback and I told them that it might be a little bit too strong, but the build I was playing, it definitely felt a little bit overtuned. Now, could this be maybe an over-exaggeration on my part? Maybe it's not that big of a deal. That could be it. Because something I forgot to mention is all guardians are going to have 10 resilience across the board now. Everyone's going to have the same amount of health. So now you don't have to focus on resil anymore in PvP. You don't have to check people's stats, see if you can 2-tap them with a 120 or if they can survive, whatever may be, the smallest amounts. I thought it was kind of annoying always, and they got rid of it. So that's pretty cool. You guys might be wondering, well, what happened to mobility? How do you get increased mobility? Is everyone just at 10 mobility? Is everyone at 0 mobility? What's going on? Well, I did ask them that too, because obviously as someone who uses mobility, and a lot of you guys that play Hunter, you guys are are going to be curious about that. So everyone is set at a baseline of 30 mobility when playing the game. I asked DMG and a couple devs about this, and they all confirmed it was at 30 mobility. But in case you're wondering, can you increase your mobility in the game? You can with a brand new mod on your boots, but you guys aren't going to like it. It does take one mod slot each and every time you select the mod, and unfortunately, only using one mod is not going to get you up to 10 mobility. You're going to have to use 3 mod slots to get to 10 mobility, I'm pretty sure. It might actually only get you to 9 mobility. From what I heard, I think you go from 30 to 60 to 80 to 90. I'm pretty sure is what they confirmed. I could be wrong on that. Take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, because it could change, or I just could be wrong. But that kind of let me down a little bit. I kind of wish everyone just had 100 mobility, or if you had a movement exotic on, I wish it just gave you 100 mobility. I know you can't satisfy everyone though, because maybe not everyone wants to be using 100 mobility. So again, in case you're wondering, everyone is set at 30 baseline, and you can increase it or decrease it with that mod. In terms of artifice armor and stuff like that, they kind of completely revamped that, and now you have other ways of getting extra stats on your armor, but there's stuff called tier 5 armor now. This is like the pinnacle of armor. This is the best of the best, and it goes from tier 1 all the way to tier 5. Everything in between isn't really as good, but once you get to tier 5, you get like the extra stats similar to artifice armor, but not exactly. Just keep in mind though, if you do ever get a tier 5 drop, you want that. That's like your main goal. And from what I understand, exotic armor pieces aren't going to have any tiers on them at all. As you guys can see from my stompies, it didn't have any tier whatsoever, but that could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure on that because I was using my old stompies. And since we are talking about armor, here are the brand new exotic armor pieces. I'll show you guys pictures on screen, starting with the hunter one. It's not a PvP exotic, unfortunately, but it is a strand exotic nonetheless. If you throw your threaded spike, I think is what it's called, or your threaded knife, whatever it is, the hunter melee, at a tangle, it will make the tangle explode and bring the tangle towards you so you could catch it, and that way you don't have to go retrieve the tangle. You can just bring it to yourself. It's pretty cool. I don't know how practical it's going to be in PvE. You can make 2 tornadoes with only 1 tangle now, which is kind of nice if you want to do that PvE build, but that's all it's got really going for it. Not too insane. Now, as for the Titan exotic though, you know, let me just show you. Yup, that's right. You literally become Thor. It's pretty insane. And here's the exotic on screen so you guys can read it for yourselves. It's honestly one of the cooler things I've used when I was there, but there's definitely a lot of stuff I haven't shown you guys yet. And as for the Warlock exotic, probably the most useful, I'd say. Maybe I could be wrong on that, but it makes your solar blob combust into a bunch of mini blobs and still keeping the main shot itself, and it just scorches targets a lot faster and stuff. I'll show you guys on the gun range here. You guys will see some gameplay, but overall looks pretty cool. It's not bad. And those are the main and like biggest changes so far. If I didn't answer any of your questions, or you have any other questions about the armor, leave the questions down in the comments below and I'll try to answer. But that's basically it in terms of armor and stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.